Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is In It from the Spooks, and tonight we're going to be reading and reacting to 5 crazy stories from our What Do I Do. As a friendly reminder, your narrator's voice, moi, is absolutely, completely, 100% real and human, not AI. Sit back, relax, grab something to eat, and remember to drink some water as we dive into tonight's stories. Someone is convinced that I am responsible for their son missing. By Commercial Stress 899. I'm sorry this is so long. About a week ago, I, 34 female, got a long voicemail from an unknown number. In the voicemail, a woman explains that her 18-year-old son is missing. She mentions he was last seen in a city that neighbors where I live. She said that a phone number similar to mine, one digit off, had been calling her son multiple times a day prior to his disappearance. She hired a private detective who looked up his number, and for some reason my name popped up. She thought I might have a child who has this number, and that's why it showed up under me. I've had this number my whole life, and my only children are twin 1-year-olds and definitely don't have cell phones. My husband has had his same phone number his whole life, and it isn't similar to mine. My first thought was this was some kind of scam, but the voicemail sounded genuine, and her area code is in my area. She also wasn't asking for anything, so I couldn't figure out what she would gain from me thinking her son is missing. I did look up her son's name, but nothing shows up. He is 18 though, so the police may not be viewing it as a missing person. I talked to my husband, and we decided sending her a text letting her know we had no knowledge of the number or her son would be the kind thing to do. He also listened to the voicemail and said it sounded legit. After I texted her this, she kept trying to give me more information and sending me photos of a picture she thought had been associated with the number. The picture was a teenage girl I've never seen before. I told her that I didn't know any teenagers and my children were far too young to be associated with their son in any way. She seemed to accept it, and I thought it was over. The next day I get a new text saying she doesn't believe me because her son showed up at a police station right after texting me and told him he had been abused and ran away. I'm trying to de-escalate, so I just tell her I'm sorry, but I have no idea who her son is and to stop contacting me. Over the next couple days, she keeps texting me. I try to be very direct and just state that I don't know her son and I would like to be left alone. Eventually, this accumulates with her sending me a picture of my home address along with where my parents live. I'm horrified. I call her and tell her she's scaring my family. She doesn't seem to believe anything I say and keeps asking where her son is. I'm realizing that I cannot get through to this person and disconnect to call the non-emergency line. The police officer gets her information and says he will call her. I call my husband, who works on the weekends, and explain what's happening. He's pretty upset and ends up calling her himself. She tells him that she thinks I'm having an affair with her son. My husband calls her an idiot. Later, the police officer calls me back and says he talked to her and she told him she would stop texting and leave me alone. It seems to him that she is a legitimate person who is missing her son and that she received information that I was connected. This doesn't make me feel much better though, because now a real person thinks I am responsible for their son missing and knows where I and my babies live. When I talked to the police officer, he didn't seem very concerned. He said I could file a restraining order, which means she would be arrested if she did show up at my house. They didn't seem to think that was necessary though. At one point, the woman did give me a phone number for her private detective. My husband wants to call him, but I don't know if that's a good idea. I plan on not contacting her and hoping she does the same. I've kept all the texts and voicemails in case we do need to get a restraining order. My husband ended up calling the private detective number she gave us. We found out his information from his voicemail, and he's certified as a PI in my state. I'm just shocked a PI would tell this woman I'm behind a phone number and then instead of calling me to verify if it was a real lead, just gives her all of my information. In the top comments, You Know I'm Right 25 says, I'm convinced you did it. That lady said so. The police did their investigating. They don't see us as a threat or a suspect. That's it. Block, delete, move on. If she contacts you again, get a restraining order like the police said. Then it's on her if she goes to jail or not. OP responds, We'll definitely try to do this. The anxiety right now is insane, but I just hope she will contact the police with their concerns from now on and leave me out of it. Sycamore Ready says, Don't block her, mute her. If she's crazy, you need to know if this is escalating. OP says, yes, sorry, I didn't block her, but I'm definitely not responding ever again. Stunning Outcome 3391 says, the PI giving out your home address without even making a single verification call first is genuinely the most irresponsible part of this whole situation. Maleg says, right? Restraining orders against both of them. Consider suing both of them in small claims court for harassment. Snafuminder comments the 100 emoji. Connect Advantage 40 says, I'd just go ahead and tell her you have a restraining order. Who cares if you're being honest? She isn't coming across as the height of ethics. Even with a voicemail that sounds legit, it could be the PI is saying what she told him to say on the recording. It's possible to have a phone number with voicemail through online services. Don't ask me their name, but you can search through Google or another search app. I'll try to search for the name shortly. The person calling you may not have any connection to the person she's claiming is her son. If she gives you good face shots, do a reverse search using Google and it may identify the guy. Really, because you seem afraid, go ahead and check out the requirements for filling the restraining order and file one on her, the son, the PI, and anyone else who has stuck their nose into this. Or you could always get a gun. My Little Cousin is a Sociopath by Autistic Eye Concealer. My cousin, 10 or 9 male, who we'll call Jay, has never been normal. When he was younger, he was violent, never talked, and sexually assaulted/harassed my sister multiple times. We didn't find out about that last part until recently though, so back then he was just weird. We thought he would grow out of it. He hasn't, spoiler alert. Every time we go visit my dad's side of the family, Jay never talks. Not even to his mom or dad. Nobody. He sits in his room. Sometimes he tries to make my sister go into his room. If he's not in there, he's with the other younger ones, usually using his toys to try and hurt them, or just hitting them with his hands. He's still very weird to my sister. He doesn't stop staring at her chest, and he avoids hurting her like he does to the others. Today, I went to my grandma's pool. To give you a visual, my grandma has an old church house with a pool to the right and acres upon acres of other land, but we don't usually use it unless we go out on bikes or whatever. There's a path that leads to the woods and a path that basically circles around the pool. I don't really know why this matters, but I feel like I should say it. It was too cold to swim today, so my sister didn't, but I got in for a little. Jay was there with his dad, but his dad left to go pick up another family member and didn't come back before we left. Jay spent the whole time in the pool, growling and yelling like a literal dog, splashing me specifically. It was so obvious that he was targeting me that when he accidentally splashed my sister, he yelled no and covered his face before going back to splashing at me. I just kept circling the pool, trying to avoid him while he swam after me. It was annoying, sure, but not too much. I think that was the only real word he said, too. His family recently got a new dog, Alpha, and he spent a couple minutes in the pool trying to get the dog to jump in with him. They haven't had the dog for a while, but it seems to be avoiding Jay and only hung out around us, my grandma, mama, papa, sister, uncle, and me. He also has a cat, but she's outdoor, so I don't see Jay and her together much. Later in the day, I finally jumped in the pool, just because. Jay was out of it at the time, but immediately jumped back in to start following me around the pool and to continue splashing me. I got out after like 5 minutes. I was standing there in a towel, and he kept jumping around to splash me, so I turned to him and said, if you get me again, I'm gonna ride your bike. He's very possessive of his things, so I knew he wouldn't like it. He splashed me again, so I hopped on the bike and started riding around. He ran out of the pool, chased me for a bit, and when I was in the driveway, he stopped and started throwing rocks. I don't mean pebbles, I mean rocks, the size of my palm. He was throwing them at me and at my papa's car. I told him not to, but he just laughed and kept doing it. The path I was riding on while he was chasing me is covered in pine needles from the trees, as it's a very rural area, and so it freaked me out how he just kept going, barefoot, only in swim trunks, still covered in cold water. It looked like he didn't even feel anything except anger. I rode past him again, just like I had been doing, and at this point, he was just holding a stick. I didn't expect him to pick up the biggest rock he saw and throw it at me, but he did. He was maybe 20, 30 feet away, and it hit the ground, bounced up, and hit me on my right temple. It hurt like a for just a second, but I guess something blocked off the pain as I just rode over to the fence and put the bike back. My sister was watching the whole time, and he didn't aim at her once. Only me. Only my dad's car. My sister was really worried, but I didn't feel anything, so I didn't say anything to my family. We left 20 minutes later, and I have no idea where Jay was, or maybe I just didn't notice him because he doesn't talk a lot. I was lucky to hear him growl and say no today. On the car ride home, I started to show the symptoms of a concussion. I had a headache that kept getting worse. I felt very out of it and confused. I felt like I was going to vomit, and I was extremely sensitive to the light. I feel a couple of these symptoms still, but I don't think I have a concussion. Mama said it's a migraine, and Mama knows best. Maybe I'll check it out tomorrow. It feels the same. This is not a medical question, by the way. Anyways, I guess I'm just wondering what I can do to help. I'm a minor, along with my sister, so we can't control whether or not we go to family events, unless we want to piss off my dad. He has a short temper, lol. And my mama doesn't really see this as a big enough deal to break off ties. My aunt, Jay's mom, is extremely nice. She's a little sassy, but, she's been there for me and my sister. I don't really like Jay's dad. He's very, if you know what I mean. Both of Jay's parents physically disciplined him, so I sort of feel bad. But at the same time, I want to protect my sister and me. So any advice is welcome. I'll update this if needed, and I'll answer any questions. Thank you. Edit 1. I said this in a comment, but please don't say he has autism. If he does, it's not why he acts like this. I'd like to add that my aunt unfortunately went through some bad times and did a lot of hard drugs and drank a lot while pregnant with him. She didn't know she was pregnant while doing them, though, and stopped as soon as she found out. I don't know when she found out, probably too late to prevent anything. Jay has terrorized my sister. She will never live a normal life because of our cousin. Just because he's young doesn't mean he can't be a bad person. Edit 2. I would also like to add that police were involved at one point, but it was dismissed. No idea why, or if they talked to Jay. I do know that the officer that spoke to us said he was like Jeffrey Dahmer. I see the correlation. The top comments. To be better, to be pure says, he essayed your sister and your family still doesn't think it's enough of a problem to keep them separated? I'm so sorry. OP replies, my papa is extremely close with his family, to the point where none of us are in his will, but his brother, who's already extremely rich and lives with his mom, is. My mom is unfortunately not the best at confrontation. There's been police that got involved, but they dismissed the case even after saying that Jay was like Jeffrey Dahmer. There's not really a lot that I can do to keep my sister safe and away from Jay. Tater Tot says, if anything else happens after this, it's gonna have to be a call to CPS from you. Anyone can report. Kids can even report on their own behalf for their safety. In another comment, Tater Tot says, silence will only give you room to keep his behavior on track to worsen. If you don't speak up for yourself, do it for your sister. And you probably can control whether or not you go to that house. Any parent who would try to force you and your sister to go after being informed what your cousin is doing, they shouldn't be parents. You tell your parents I said that. Parents are supposed to protect their children and raise them to be prepared for the world while being well-rounded enough to interact in society. OP says, told Dad about the rocks and he was only mad about the car almost being hit. I think this might have loosened his grip on whatever he's clinging to, even if his answer isn't really, We probably won't be going back next weekend, so I'll use that time to keep sneaking in the idea of distancing from that side of the family, and hopefully that'll gain me another weekend away, and start a loop of me bringing up how bad Jay is and make my dad not want to go. I'll really take her comment to heart, as this genuinely means something to me. Thank you. My mother is currently flirting/talking to a married man. By Know Anything 9098. I am a 16 female and she is a 46 female. For context, she has been cheated on a few times by my father. She has been in the process of getting a divorce for the last few months. Over the past few weeks, she has been going out every Thursday with her best friend to get drinks. She's been getting flirted with by many men, but it's only superficial. She does not plan on dating any of these men. This seems to make her very happy, and I am honestly happy that she's going out after being married to a man who brought her a lot of anguish. However, she's been mentioning that she is talking to this man who buys her drinks when she goes out and drives her to a car when her car is parked far away. I didn't think much of it until she said he was married. I thought this was quite hypocritical on her part since she said that if her husband was talking to another woman, she would be quite angry, and here she is encouraging him. Not only does he buy her drinks and engage in conversations, but they also text very often. I've looked at some of their conversations and they seem quite flirty. It's clear that he is more than a friend. She says it is nothing and she doesn't plan on getting anything out of their relationship. But nonetheless, I find it very disrespectful and quite frankly gross. I obviously have no business sticking my nose in what my mom does, but as my mother, what kind of impression is she trying to give me? That it's okay to flirt with married men? That it's okay to put other married women down when you yourself have been cheated on before? I have tried approaching her about this, but this has not ended well. She's very defensive and will not allow me to talk about it. I've also tried talking to her sister about it. She says it's just a phase for her and she will learn to cool off and settle. She is 46. She is not a teenager anymore to be going out every week and not coming back until 3 a.m. or to be flirting with dozens of men, most of whom are married. I've tried to not let it bother me, but I find myself losing respect for my mother. No matter who you are to me, I will not respect you as a woman if you encourage a married man that way. I'd love to know your opinion and your advice on what to do and how to approach this. Comments. Swimming Finance 452 says, "Yeah, this would bug me too. You are not crazy for feeling grossed out by the hypocrisy. At the same time, she is in full midlife crisis, plus divorce brain, and nothing you say is going to snap her out of it right now. I'd stop trying to parent her choices and instead tell her once, very calmly, this makes me lose respect for you and hurts me given what you went through, and then drop it and protect your own space. Focus on your own values, vent to trusted adults or friends, and let her crash or grow out of it without dragging you into the mess." B says, "This is the best advice to follow." Composer Dry 7892 says, "Not gonna lie, I'd feel the same way in your shoes. It's pretty jarring when a parent's actions clash with what they've taught you. At the same time, you're 16 and she is in a messy, hurt, acting out phase after getting cheated on, so she's probably not going to hear moral arguments from you right now. I dropped the convo about the married guy and instead focus on how her staying out late and seeing her like this makes you feel unsafe and lose trust in her. Keep it about your feelings, not her being a bad woman. Long term, this might just be one of those I learned what not to do from my parent situations, and you quietly hold your own standards while letting her crash and burn on her own choices." I was given a dog and now the previous owner wants them back. By Cornbread Cats. Sunday, May 17th, 2026, I was scrolling through Facebook and a woman has posted saying that she had to make the hard decision to rehome her dog, that she's had him for 2 years and tried to make it work, but since having a kid and having the father leave them, she couldn't afford to take care of him anymore. She told me she has no job and no income and had to make the right choice to give him a better life. That day I took my 2 current dogs to meet him and it went very well. I talked with her a lot and told her I in no way wanted to take her dog from her and that she could visit him anytime and so on. She told me she was really comfortable with me taking him and I told her I could get him the following weekend. I even gave her money to feed him for that week as she told me she has been getting him $4 bags of food to live off of. The next weekend, on May 23rd, I went to her home and got him. She gave me all of his things and vet workers. He hopped into the car and we were on our way. I own a home with a large backyard. He immediately fit right in. He follows me all over and cuddles like a big baby. When I love hard, and over this past week I've fallen for him. He's so happy here and loves having other dogs around to play with. Today, May 31st, the previous owner reached out asking for her dog back. I'll attach the screenshot. I know she made the tough decision in the first place and even told me that she was having to move from a small apartment to an even smaller one. Over the course of the week, it seems that she worked something out with her family to live in a house with them. Over this week, we have done so much for the dog and he has joined our pack. I know it's the right thing to do to give him back, but I adore him and have been crying over this for hours now as he has laid on me. She made the choice to give him up and I took him without any intention of having to lose him. Please help. I don't know what to do. If I keep him, I'm a bad person, but if I give him back, my heart is going to be broken. It's also so hard because he is so happy here, and what if they can't give him all that I can? Edit, everyone in my life seems pretty adamant that I should give him back, and it would be the right thing to do. Edit number 2. He has a rash on his stomach that she had been treating with coconut oil, and I have researched and got a medical spray that should clear it up, but we started that today so I can't say if it's working yet. And he has heat rash on his paws. She told me that they are permanent and just there. After researching more, that doesn't seem to be the case and I started care for that today. I do have photos, but I'm unsure of how to add them. And then this is the tech conversations. Hi, I've been thinking a lot about the decision to rehome my dog, and I realized I made it too quickly. My family situation has changed, and I'll be moving with family and am able to keep and care for my dog. I know you've already welcomed them into your home, and I understand this is a big thing to ask, but I was hoping you'd consider letting me have my dog back. I truly appreciate the love and care you've given him this past week. If you're open to it, I'd be happy to let you visit, spend time with them, or even watch them when needed, or take, since I know you've become attached. I'd also be willing to cover any expenses you've had. It's just been making me so sick from having him gone, and now we are moving in better direction. Please let me know if you'd be willing to talk about it. OP says, I need to take the day to think about it. We have become really attached and I've been doing a lot to get him situated here. I had wanted a third dog for a long time and this seemed like fate, but I do understand where you are coming from. I have a lot of emotions to think through. This is a really hard situation for both of us. They reply, Thank you for being honest with me. I completely understand needing time to think about it, and I really appreciate everything you've done for him this past week, truly. I just want to be honest that rehoming him is something I deeply regret. My situation has changed, and I'm moving to a place where he'll have more space to run and enjoy the freedom he deserves with me and my family. I know this is a difficult situation, and I respect your feelings. Thank you for taking the time to consider it. This doesn't mean your home can't be his home either. I just love him deeply. And then it's a picture of the cutie patootie. Oh, look at him. He looks so sweet. Then I'm assuming this is him with OP. Oh, he looks so happy. And cute. Oh, he's so cute. I love pit bulls. I'm pretty sure he's a pit bull. The top comments. Euphoric Amoeba 8708 says, all the people who know you will tell you to give the dog back to her, and all the people on Reddit will tell you to keep the dog because they don't care about other people and their life's problems. You do what you think is right. It might be better to have a conversation with this woman and have her get settled into her new living situation for a few months, and then maybe have the dog visit her instead, but stay with you. Cypress Breeze says, just adding to this, I recommend focusing the conversation on the welfare of the animal. I agree that it feels unconvincing that she's able to take care of it properly. Rye says, my girlfriend had a similar situation with her cats. She ended up giving them back, but the person messaged her a week later that she couldn't take care of the cats, so my girlfriend took them back. She asked for the cats back yet again, at which point my girlfriend said no. Bej1234 says, lol, f that person, good for your girlfriend. JRose608 says, I wouldn't be able to survive this emotional roller coaster, oh my god. Update. Here are photos of the rash and heat marks. He also has little tough bumps on random spots all over his body, which seem to be a normal pit bull allergy thing, but I will have those checked too. He also has a lump that I noticed on his stomach the other day that feels fluid-like. I am going to take him to the vet this week to have it checked. Fingers crossed. I did not include this in my original post because I was told these things are normal from her according to her vet, but after researching more I'm finding that this may not be the case. I also attached the conversation about coming to see him and getting me his rabies tag. She did not respond with the time to come or anything at all, and no, I didn't reach out again because I gave her the times I was available. I want to clarify that I have no negative feelings towards her. I think what she did was extremely brave and noble. I just feel extremely blindsided and unsure of what's best for Jasper, the dog. I have had him for a week and I have developed very strong love for him. That's just who I am. I have friends, dogs that I absolutely love. I know that is no means to keep him. The means to keep him would be assurance of him having a great life. I don't know this person, and all I have to go off is what they tell me. I never asked to be in this situation, and it sucks a lot. But everyone's input has been extremely helpful and given me many perspectives I hadn't thought of. And then it's a photo with the rash on the belly. Looks a little painful. And then the bump on the paw. Now to the text. Hi, how's Jasper? I have 2 rabies tags and I can't find either or still. I just called them and he's covered for all his vaccines currently, but they said he's due soon for 3 shots. They said to come and get the rabies tag at the office, and since I'm main holder on account, I added you as an unauthorized person as well to make decisions, so you can go there as well. I guess I'm not sure what you want to do, if you use another clinic for your pups and just want him seen elsewhere, or stop in here and get the tag. A new rabies vaccine here is $30 too, but won't need it for a bit. OP says, I'm finding a new vet for my doggies as we just moved, so I'll probably just bring them all to one. But I can definitely stop to get the tag to make sure he's good until then. They reply, okay, otherwise once I get my tabs, hopefully later today, I can stop by and then try to meet you or bring to you as well. OP says, okay, I mean I'd be open if you wanted to come see him and check out his new digs. They reply, oh, absolutely. I'll message you when I get my tabs, so we can try and set me up coming to see. OP says, sounds great. I go back to work 3 to 6, so anytime before or after that works great. They say, okay, should hopefully be before that, but we'll see. Top comments. OP says, yeah, I have no idea how to do an update correctly. I apologize. K Baddix replies, The bump on his paw is from chewing. Given time and stopping him from chewing, the hair will grow back. I've owned pitties my whole life and they have all been allergic to chicken. I feed mine Purina Pro Plan, sensitive skin and stomach, but anything without chicken should be fine. I personally wouldn't give him back, yet. It hasn't been enough time for her to get on her feet, and $4 dog food isn't going to cut it. Once she settles down, and if she's still asking in a few months from now, then consider it. But it sounds like she just misses the dog, but isn't really thinking about what's best for the dog. They need more than just a yard. OP says, the issue with giving her time is that it's more time for him to acclimate here and for me to continue attaching. I also never agreed to be part of a temporary situation. Kay Baddock replies, yes, you're absolutely right. I was just thinking that. If she thought she might want the dog back, she should have asked someone to foster him until she got back on her feet. I'm sure it's more difficult because she has been kind about the whole situation, but even just health-wise, he seems better off with you, and he seems to have already bonded with you in the other post with the picture of you guys. Update number 2. After all of the feedback and many conversation, here is my game plan. I am going to get him to his vet appointment this week to assess all of the health concerns and get their educated opinion on this whole situation. From there, if things are looking good, I'm going to request to see the home she's moving to and also ask where her income would come from for his care. I'll also make sure she does reimburse me for everything before he would return to assure I wasn't just being used. If the vet says the opposite, then I'll address this with the previous owner and make the choice to keep him as it would be best for him. If you have any other ideas of how to approach all of this, I would greatly appreciate it. Comments. DC Construction says, I would ask her if she would consider that she knows the dog is safe with you and she's able at the moment to put her time and financial resources towards taking the best care of her child. It's a lovely dog, but if she's just getting set up in her new life, she should be saving for emergencies or spending the money on her kid. Because if her resources are spread thin, it's going to be hard to choose between feeding her dog and taking it to the vet, or feeding, clothing, and taking herself or her child to the doctor. It doesn't sound like she's established enough to concern herself with much more than her and her child's well-being. Far Earth 886 says, I think you're going about this in the best way possible for all parties, dog included. My boyfriend wants me to quit my job, Part 1, by Jealous Rip 79. So me, female 19, and boyfriend 21 have been together for 4 years. When we first started dating, we had a rocky relationship. During the talking stages, I found out he was talking to another female. In short, I confronted him on it and decided to stay with him since our relationship wasn't official. I must say I didn't handle this well and retaliated back by using a male friend to act like we were hooking up to get back at boyfriend. For about a year we were still talking and would do petty back and forth things to annoy each other. Anyway, we made it official after a year and he explained his boundaries to me, most of which seemed reasonable, but some I disagreed with. But due to the fact we both had a lot of trust issues because of our past, I agreed to them. The relationship went smoothly, but once I turned 18, the legal age for clubbing in my country, his issues got worse. I knew I couldn't go out to clubs/bars without him, as he explained this when we first started dating, and I was fine with that. But he never really made an effort to come with me and always told me he didn't like it, so I missed out on a lot of fun things during uni because of this. He's had a job while I've been looking for one about 6 months while I'm studying. Eventually, I find a job at a pub in my city. Let boyfriend know about the job and tell him the location, hours, and position I want to apply for. He Googles the venue, says he's a bit uncomfortable with it, but eventually gives in and says he doesn't mind. So I interview and land the job. I tell him the news, and he seems happy for me, and all is well until 3 days later I'm on my way to my first shift. I've already signed a contract, bear this in mind, that states I cannot resign during the probation period or I will not be paid for the hours I've worked and will owe the company if I receive any money. He messaged me saying I have to resign and that he's changed his mind and that he's uncomfortable for me to work there because one of his friends goes there for drinks sometimes. So he knows about the type of place it is and that he won't be with me if I work there. Also managed to see what I'm wearing. I reply, I cannot quit. I'm running late and will send him a photo when I've clocked in and have time, and we will talk about it after my shift. I feel like it's worth mentioning that my job is FOH, front of house, meaning I am doing glass collection, drink running, and food running. During my first week, most of my shifts ended around 12 a.m., but this changed during my second week, so I finished earlier. Anyway, he leaves me be, and once I'm home, we talk about it, and from what he's saying, I can clearly see this is all leading to his trust issues with me and some insecurity. Although I feel responsible for the trust issues and insecurity, I've also reached a point now where I feel as if it's also due to his personality that he's refusing to try and get over it. I spent the last 3 years of my life trying to make up for the mistakes I've made. However, I feel like he is just ignoring those efforts, and whenever he's unhappy will bring up what happened between us in the beginning. Also to mention, there are so many things I've sacrificed to try and help heal him, and to me, it seems like they're all going unnoticed. Anyway, since he's been distant with me, constantly trying to break up with me, and won't see it from my perspective, he believes he's not being unreasonable and that I should be able to just quit my job. I haven't worked for 6 months and I am taking loans out for school. My friend referred me to this job. This is the first place that has offered me a job. Also, I'm planning to study abroad in September 2027 and get my driver's license so I can commute to and from school, so I really need this job. I've not had lots of money, so I always felt like he had to pay for things and it was a problem. I just want to do my part and better my life. Do you think it's worth me trying to help him see it's a positive thing, or should I just walk away? Men, I want your opinions just as much as I want women's. Comments. Electrical Act 7170 says, take the job. OP replies, do you think it's worth me fighting to keep him as well as my job, or should I let him leave? Electrical Act replies, he will stay or go, whatever, but don't wreck your life because someone else wants to control you. And that does it for tonight, folks. Those were 5 crazy stories from our What Do I Do? And yeah, I'd say those were pretty interesting. From that person accusing OP of being the reason their son was missing, the demonic little cousin that was compared to Jeffrey Dahmer, that mom who went against everything she taught her daughter, the dog, and the complete toxic relationship of that last story, which, by the way, there's a part 1 in the title, but after checking the user's page, it doesn't seem like the other part has been posted yet, so I'm assuming they're waiting to post an update in the future. So let me know if you want an update on it, and I'll definitely be keeping my eye out on that one. If you have any other subreddits you'd like me to check out, don't be shy and let me know down below. If you want to send in your own stories, feel free to send them in to the email in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but only if you want to, of course. My name is In It for the Spooks, and don't forget to stay spooky. Thank you. Oh my god. Chill the f*** out, cat and dog. Jesus Christ.